consider the amendment that you proposed. I just wanted to have time to read that amendment. I have done so. I'm fine with that, and just move to reconsider.
All right. We have a move to reconsider. All in favor? Oh, seconded, sorry. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
No.
So we have moved to reconsider the amendment, and so now we need to vote on the amendment, correct? Substitute, yes. So do I hear a motion for substitute House Bill number 2390? Okay, Senator Baumgardner. And we have a second from Senator Stephan. All in favor? Oh, can we make it a quick discussion? Okay, Senator Petty.
I think we should have a review of what the amendment is.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The proposed substitute for House Bill 2390 would grant power to the Secretary of KDHE to receive access to the drug overdose medical records, as well as law enforcement investigative records, and the decedent's controlled substances prescribing records, and then would require the Secretary to study that information and would mirror some of the language that was found in Section 3 about duties and recommendations following the information that the Secretary compiles and receives from these records. And the last, page and a third or so is just the confidentiality provisions to make sure that the data obtained, as well as the personal information extracted from that data, would be kept confidential.
So committee, we are giving the department an opportunity, Department of Health and Welfare, to review, study overdose deaths in the state and get information from other departments. And it's basically mirroring what they do with the maternal death. Yes, Senator O'Shea.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Clarification around, hadn't we created a substitute amendment that was that with the fentanyl strips in it?
It is not. It's just substitute to everything that was in
But
2390.
I mean, last time we were working it.
And that was voted down.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Sorry, I just need
Senator
a little
O'Shea.
bit of clarification too, as far as what we were doing the last time.
Okay,
So
Senator.
with this amendment, we're putting in that language, and then what happens with the fentanyl test strip information?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a proposed substitute, so it would strip the contents of the entire bill and replace it with these 3 pages.
Okay. And so the whole issue of the fentanyl test strips, I think it was mentioned last week, is being heard in another committee, but I received verification this weekend that it's not. So we lose that language
And
completely.
you heard that verification from whom?
From the chair?
They will be working that in the conference committee.
Okay, so not the bill or the actual language?
Well, not our bill.
Okay.
Yes, no, yes, but fentanyl strips that came over from the House. Any other questions? Yes, Senator O'Shea.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I know our committee already voted it down, but I just want to say we can't ever assume that something's going to get worked in another place or at a different time, because I don't serve on those committees and I'm not in there. And so I think it's too bad that we're not able to tackle that issue. Thank you.
Point of order.
Yes,
I apologize. Would you refresh me where we're at on this bill? Are we working the amendment or are we?
we are working the amendment. We had a motion and a second, and we were finishing discussion.
My
And now ready to vote. No apologies necessary. And we're ready to discuss. Yes.
So, Madam Chair, we're gutting totally everything. So this there was a different recommendation in this bill for a review board. There was fentanyl. There was the allowing fentanyl strips to be used within this bill that passed out of the House overwhelmingly. So we're gutting this bill totally. We're establishing a new with this substitute amendment that was introduced on Thursday, a totally different board that really is just looking at asking the secretary, which The other board was much broader, involved a lot of other people that have expertise in this, in the field. This is just asking this, giving the, or asking the secretary to study overdose deaths. We already have we already have something like this in place, I believe.
When I asked the secretary, if you recall, at the time when we had this hearing, why is it they couldn't just go ahead and do this now? And she said they didn't have the authority to speak to the other departments, get information from law enforcement, et cetera. This gives them that authorization, just like they have with maternal death.
But it doesn't involve any others. It's just reaching out to those. It doesn't and actually establish a board. It's just asking the secretary to reach out to those other entities to provide back then a report.
Correct, Senator. And I'm sorry, we're going to have to go on and vote. We have a lot of bills to hear today.
I understand that, but this is an important issue, and just because, you've scheduled for hearings today and wanting to work a bill that there are multiple questions about, doesn't mean that the committee members shouldn't be allowed to ask those questions.
I understand. I believe those questions were asked on Thursday.
I don't
but
believe
we'll
so.
move ahead. All in favor of this amendment, please say aye. Aye. And do I hear a motion to pass out? Opposed?
No?
Do you want to be recorded?
Yes.
All right. And now we will move on to, oh, yes, Senator Stefan.
My apologies again. So we're back on the bill.
We are back on the bill.
Some of the conversations sparked my thinking on this, but I would like to make an amendment onto the current bill. And what I would like to do is conceptual. I'd like to take the verbiage that is in SB 6. I don't want to do anything with SB 6.
This is out of order. Madam Chair, this is out of order.
We just voted on this amendment, and let me ask Jenna. I think that's more than a conceptual amendment to be able to add another bill into this, into 2390, this substitute 2390. Okay. We can certainly vote on that. So your motion is to put the contents of SB 6 into this.
The floor. We have a motion and a second. You've moved it. We should be voting on that.
Okay, we did vote on, the second was the amendment, and we did vote on that. We are back on the bill, and when we are back on the bill, we could have a motion on the bill as a substitute bill, or we could entertain another motion. Yes.
And I am making a motion, I'm offering an amendment, which would
Okay.
be to just use the verbiage. I don't want to do anything to SB 6. I want to just use that verbiage to an amendment.
Add the contents.
Add the contents, the same verbiage into what's now, what are we calling the substitute, Senate substitute for HB 2390.
Yes.
Madam Chair, we have nothing in writing. We have nothing to look at. I think this is very out of order. If the senator wishes to work a different bill, that's understandable. We have a bill on the floor that we have something in writing that we have actually discussed again and have now voted to amend this 2390. We have made a substitute bill to 2390, and now you're going to accept something conceptual. I object. We need to have something in writing.
Okay, Jenna, as you just said, this is up to the chair, correct? Right, and the only thing we have in writing is or we already have Senate Bill 6, and we can vote if we want to add that, the contents of that into 2390, and we will do that now. So we have a motion to add the contents of Senate Bill 6 into this. We have a second from Senator Thompson. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay, the chair cannot tell. So all in favor, yes.
And I just want to make sure I can get some leeway from the committee in terms of combining
Right.
these two bills to make sure that they work correctly.
Right.
Together, the title, et cetera, will need to be amended.
Okay, so you're going to look at that conceptually, okay? Okay. Yes, Senator Petty.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So now what we're considering is the substitute bill of 2390. And now you're asking, or there was a vote that you're going to check, that inserting into the substitute bill, 2390, Senate Bill 6, which we have not looked at since
Well, we worked
week
that
one.
bill, and the bill passed the Senate. So I will say again, the chair was uncertain as to whether that passed. So could I see the hands of those who voted yes? And those opposed? Seeing three, so the bill passes. I mean, the amendment
Like to be
passes.
recorded, please.
Okay, Senator O'Shea would like to be recorded.
Also.
Yes, I think we have that down. So now, in the substitute of House Bill number 2390, where we have inserted the contents of Senate Bill 6, all in favor of that bill, please, yes. Need a motion.
I move we pass out Senate substitute for House Bill 2390 as amended favorably for passage.
Right, second? Senator Erickson, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
It passes. We are ready for the hearing.
I'd like my no vote to be recorded, as well as a comment. This is very disappointing.
All right, committee and those in the conference room, thank you for your patience while we were working those bills.